What's happening, everyone? We are one episode away from the big finale of the challenge Ride or Dies. I have titled this again a review rather than a recap because for me, when I do recaps, I take extremely detailed notes from beginning to end. And I haven't really been doing so in the finale. And that's because there's so much to the finale, but it's also not too much that we see. Like there's so many hours happening, and the majority of what the focus is on is basically the relationships between the ride or dies, which is more of what I'm going to talk about. So at the end of the last episode, we all know what happened with Horacio and Olivia, and unfortunately, Olivia had a freak accident injury DQ. So now we're down to the three teams once again. The three teams are Devin and Tori, Nanny and Bananas, and then Anissa and Jordan. So it showed that Devin and Tori were killing it up to this point. So they're the first ones to make it to this swampy water where they have to collect puzzle pieces and then solve a puzzle. So they make it first, and Bananas and Nanny catch up to them to get to the puzzle portion, as it seems like they've made it through the swampy water pretty good. And then Anissa and Jordan are bringing up the rear, as they have been for this whole finale. So they're not getting along, clearly. You can see that they're not getting along, not only in the actual challenges that they're doing, but when they're showing the confessionals and they're sitting next to each other, because it seems like these were obviously recorded after the finale was already done. You could clearly visibly see that they're over each other at that point. Like they're angry at each other, they're pissed because they have a difference of opinion. Ultimately, I said this from the beginning, and this is a side note. Sorry for anyone who's kind of following me in order, but this is a side note. I said this from the beginning when I saw that Anissa was Jordan's partner. They could work together in general. They could work together in dailies. They could work together in eliminations. But when it comes to a finale, that's tough because they're in different levels of conditioning, obviously. Jordan is out here doing triathlons, and Anissa doesn't come to these things in shape to be able to complete a final. Now, I'm going to give this to her. She's still there. She's still there. She's made it through everything so far, and her ankle looks crazy. So I definitely give her, she has a strong will. I'll definitely give her that much. She has a very strong will, but she's not in competitive shape to really win one of these finales. And Jordan is not a patient teammate and is not a good teammate, frankly. I think he would definitely much rather be there by himself. He also needs to take a page of like Horacio's book. Not that Olivia is on the same level as Anissa in that regard, but just in terms of this is who you've got. You're only as strong as your weakest link. So berating her and telling her that she's not good and telling her no wonder it's been 13 years since you made a final, like that type of stuff is not doing anything to help you because you guys have to cross the finish line together to win. So telling her how much she sucks and telling her how out of shape she is not doing anything. Hours to be together. So nah, Jordan. Jordan had his moments. Definitely had his moments that I appreciated him on this season, but this episode and this final has not been his strong suit. And I do understand the frustration of not being able to compete and having to walk when you're in this really good shape and you feel like you can beat everybody. But once again, that's the partner that they gave you, and that's just the cards you're dealt with. So you have to play the hand that you're dealt the best that you can. He's not really doing that. So Tori and Devin continue to kill this day. They have these small little flare ups, but it's going to happen. You're tired, you're hungry, you're being tested mentally, physically, emotionally. It's going to happen, but they always seem to get through it. So Tori kind of told Devin, like, hey, this is how you complete this puzzle. And he was like, oh, she found the pattern. And he was like, oh, you're a genius. Like, thank you. So they finished that first. And then they get to this next puzzle that they have to finish before they can sleep. Again, Tori is like the MVP with this. She gives him some kind of analogy that works perfectly for Devin. And then they put the puzzle together and they get to their tent first. And TJ is like, wow, because thus far they've been killing it. They have been killing it. So next, Nanny and Bananas get to this puzzle and they're racking their brain trying to figure it out. They are not puzzle people. They had never been puzzle people and they never will. I don't even really know how Johnny has won so much without being able to do puzzles, but he has. So when Jordan and Anissa finally get there, Bananas proposes like, hey, there's no advantage. They already won the advantage. So this is just for getting as much sleep as possible. So let's help each other. Again, Bananas being opportunistic. That was smart. Jordan and Anissa finished first, and they helped Bananas and Nanny. So everybody's done. They're done with this portion. So here is where we experience a blow up between Anissa and Jordan, where Anissa's basically saying, like, I need my partner to show me some sympathy for my ankle. And she feels like the fact that she messed up her ankle was his fault. And it kind of seems to be, he led her off the track and then she tripped and twisted it. And then afterwards he's telling her it's just a little ankle sprain, it's just a standard sprain, like nothing's wrong with you, instead of being like, are you okay? She wanted him to be like, do you think you can continue or not continue? He doesn't even seem to be looking at it that way. For him, it's kind of like, unless something is broken. And the thing is, I don't even really want to say this, but like, I'm an athlete. So I have experienced a lot of injuries doing athletics. And it would take a lot, I feel, for me to not want to continue to do a final. And the only reason I'm saying that is because Jordan is an athlete. And I know that he's experienced a lot of injuries as well. So he's thinking of himself. And he's thinking of his level of conditioning and his pain tolerance and all that stuff. But you can't put that on another person. You can't put that on another person. You can't tell somebody how much something hurts. You can't tell somebody what their pain tolerance level should be or what they should think of their injury. You need to just listen and be compassionate. And he didn't do that. So while there's a competitive side of me that understands how he felt, that was not the move for that moment. So then Tori goes over to Anissa and consoles her. This episode, I don't know if they didn't show it as much just because there was more going on, but it didn't seem like Bananas and Nanny were arguing as much as they were in episode 1 of the finale. So we get to this next day. Tori and Devin are in the lead. So they get to start first with this challenge of pushing this parked car. So they end up picking one of the cars on the end because it's not in the mud. They're pushing. They kind of come up with a pretty good strategy. They win this leg again. I think that they've pretty much won everything, just about everything up to this point. Nanny and Bananas get their second. And Nanny automatically touches the pink car, I think it was, in the middle. And there was a policy of like, you touch it, it's yours. So she instantly just touched that car, and they had to push the hardest car because it was in the mud. And then Anissa and Jordan catch up. They get the easier car, but they finish, I think, in the same order, anyways. Second and third. Second for Nanny and Bananas, I want to say, and last for Jordan and Anissa. And then they get to this eating challenge. So I'm looking at it. They had to eat this huge plate of pasta, like spaghetti noodles, and bread. They got to eat a bunch of bread. So I'm looking at it and I'm like, this doesn't look so bad. But then it's so much, like it's so much carbs. I gotta say this. I'm tired of these throwing up scenes. I don't care about the food challenges. Some people are like, oh, I love the food challenges, the eating challenges. It's disgusting, man. It's disgusting. And I swear, I don't know, because I kind of halfway zone out when those things are on. I swear I saw them triggering the throw up valve on purpose. Oh, I need to throw up. I think they were doing that. Like, God, it's gotten to the point where they throw up on command just to get this stuff out of their system. I'm squeamish, y'all. I want to start a petition. No more eating challenges, please. I can't take watching people vomit. I don't want to see any more vomit. Put anything else in there but that. Make them do some extra puzzles, some extra swimming. I don't like that. Is just not appealing to me. And there was 2 of them. There was 2 of those scenes. Okay. Rant over. One thing Wes talks about, if you've ever seen one of Wes's recaps, he always talks about how multiple day finales are meant to be equalizers. So before, I mean, if they have like a 1-day finale, it just means it's a race from beginning to end type of thing, and you just got to win. And then the people who are in the best shape or are working together the best or whatever could have a major advantage, like a Jenny, like when a Jenny smoked the field and they had to work, production had to work to make it look interesting and close. So he always talks about multiple day finales do not benefit the people who are in the lead, because then they add in these little quirky things or these extra things that equalize the field. And in the case of this particular finale, what happens is each day kind of means nothing. You just have to make it through each day because it doesn't seem to be anything that they're keeping track of, adding, subtracting. It's just that finishing first seems to get you the most sleep, and it seems to get you a lead going into the next day. So I say all that to say, Tori and Devin have been smoking the field up to this point, but it kind of doesn't really matter. They've smoked them and everything, and it kind of doesn't really matter because we get to this eating challenge. Then he's like, I have got a special set of skills. She's taking this pasta and she's just inhaling it in large amounts. And Bananas is crushing it and triggering his throw up valve to get rid of it. So they end up overtaking them on this leg of the finale. And then I believe Tori and Devin finished second, and Aneesa and Jordan finished last again. And that's that. It seemed like Jordan said that he woke up in the morning and was like, I realized I was wrong. And his purpose for that particular day was motivating and encouraging Aneesa. Seems like she said he did a better job of it. Looked like he did a better job of it. So anyways, we are past the halfway point. I'm pretty sure next week is the last part of the finale. And so I guess for right now, Bananas and Nanny are the new leaders. They're the new leaders because they crushed this eating challenge. I said in the last recap, I would never really count a Bananas team out because he's won the most times. But still, I think that if the last part has a lot of puzzles, I still kind of think that Tori and Devin are at an advantage. And at this point, honestly, I want them to win. That's the team that I'm going for at this point. But yeah, what I was saying is the first 3 days is basically you just have to make it through the 3 days. Because I feel like even having the advantage on day 4, like being the team that went to sleep in last, the team that went to sleep in first and getting the advantage on the last day, still, you know that it's going to be long. You know that it's going to be grueling. And it looks like, based on the preview that we saw, they all end up at this final challenge that they're all competing at the end for $1 million on the line. So I guess if I'm given an MVP for this episode, I haven't really necessarily been doing that. But if I'm given an MVP, well, I could pick one of the teams that has been killing it and crushing it, but I really have to give it up to Aneesa because I'm surprised and kind of impressed that she's made it this far because, like I said, you guys know I'm big into fitness. So I've gone into fitness competitions out of shape before. But nothing as hard as this. Shout out to them for doing something like this. But I've gone into hard fitness competitions out of shape, and the worse your shape is when you go into that competition, the more mentally strong you have to be to push yourself through your body not being physically prepared to do what it's doing. So like a Jordan, even a Tori, a Devin, Nanny, Bananas, they've all trained for this. So it's hard for them too, but their bodies are more prepared to do what they're doing. Aneesa's is not. And then on top of that, her ankle is huge. It's like he's telling her, oh, it's just a standard or regular sprain or whatever he's saying. But every time they show it, it looks huge. And then she's bearing all this weight that she has on the ankle, and she's having to push, um, help him push the car and walk through a swamp, and just she's jogging on it. I'm impressed that she has gotten to this point, to be completely honest. So she's my MVP. Olivia was probably my MVP. Well, maybe they were co-MVPs, Olivia and Horacio for the last episode. But definitely I'm giving it to Aneesa. But shout out to the partnership of Tori and Devin, because they didn't used to get along like this, but it seems like they went to couples therapy or something. They get along really well. They work together really well in this competitive environment. Banani, that's what they call themselves. Banani is kind of a sleeper. Even though they're in first, I still don't feel like they're the team with the biggest chance to win, but they are a sleeper. There's always a chance for them to win, and I just don't think that Jordan and Aneesa are really in the running. I really don't believe that. And then it showed in the preview, it looked like Aneesa was on the ground. Yeah, so I think that it's between those two teams, unless some crazy shock happens for me. It's between Tori and Devin or Banani. And I'm still leaning towards Tori and Devin. So I'm really excited to see what happens in the last leg of the finale. It's a little annoying that they dragged it into 3 parts, but it is what it is. They're trying to, I don't know, more episodes, more money for them. I don't know. I don't care. I'm just kind of dealing with it. So yeah, this season has continued to be great. I'm enjoying the finale. I'm really enjoying the finale. I don't know why, but I thought this 100-hour thing was stupid, but it's making for some pretty good TV to me. And yeah, I will be back next week to cover the end of this show for this season, the challenge Ride or Dies. And I will talk to you guys